The Express.
Welcome back to the Express, everybody. It's good to be back. First in-season episode. We got lots to talk about, whether it's going over the Cubs, the NFL draft was recently, and then we would like to just share a little bit of word of the day for y'all, just what's been on our heart and what has been impacting us. So looking forward to it. Just me and Mason today. But anyways, yeah, so let's get to it.
Yeah, so first let's talk about Cubs and thank you all for showing all the love that you did to the opening day video on YouTube. That was great. We got a lot more of that stuff coming for you guys. And Cubs are off to some would say a historic start. You guys have been rolling, playing well. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew coming in the April was going to be a tough month just because of the schedule. A long West Coast trip pretty early in the season, and then just I mean the teams we've been playing. We've played a lot of really good teams. We started out obviously with Texas, played the Dodgers, had a long West Coast swing, Padres, Mariners, I almost said Cardinals, Diamondbacks. Came back home and played Miami and Houston, and then now in Boston and on to the Mets soon. So just a lot of tough games and opponents, and I think what's been really really good for our group is just for whatever reason we've had some rough luck in the injury world. We've already lost three starters this year with obviously Steely, our ace, going out, and then Saya and Belly both going down with some injuries. So being able to withstand a little bit of like that kind of storm early is a really great sign. We always say like you can't necessarily win the division in April, but you can lose it. And I feel like we've done such a good job of just being able to battle through like all the different pieces of adversity and things like that. So looking forward to getting some of those guys back and, obviously continuing to roll.
I was going to say, starting off the year, yeah, like you said, you can't win it, but you can definitely get very far behind, if not possibly lose it, depending how that goes. And looking at you guys' schedule, would you say that you kind of, this team and this club has kind of taken the league and some people by, kind of shock a little bit with how hard of the schedule you guys do have and how you guys just, have been putting together some solid wins and performances and just kind of putting yourself ahead?
I just think for me, how I look at it is last year we all kind of came in with like we think we're going to be like pretty good, but a lot of things need to go right for us to be good. Like we got to play a really good brand of baseball for us to be good. Whereas this year, it's more of like we know that we're a good team. We've got a lot more like familiar faces. I feel like we have a deeper pitching staff, a deeper bullpen, and we don't necessarily have to play a perfect game in order to like go on like a win streak or to be able to win baseball games, which is a comforting feeling. Just I mean, it's a hard game, right? Very hard game, but being able to show up each and every day and go out there and perform and like one day it's Morel, another day it's Happer, another day it's Nico, another day it's Jan, another day it's it's the whole pitching staff, it's Assad, it's JMO, like all these different guys that have contributed is to me just a testament to like the org and the depth and the job that they've been able to do to accumulate talent. And then also with our coaching staff from counts on down, uh, to just kind of keep everyone, going in the same direction. So it's it's been fun, man. Like we're 27 games in uh, to date, and 17-10 is a good start for us. I think we could all argue that we probably left some wins on the table, but it's nice to kind of go through some of those now and uh, get back on top here soon.
Yeah, obviously we all, as Cubs fans, know what kind of happened down the stretch last year with kind of letting some games slip away, and the pressure of playoff baseball coming, and you guys really having to stretch, and then having some sort of injuries come along the way towards the end of the year. How much has coach sort of put, and I don't know if he is or if he isn't, but put a stressor on finishing games, holding those leads late into the eighth and ninth, and just making sure you guys get out of there? Seems like I was talking to a couple of loyal Cub fans, and we were talking about the importance of us finishing those games, not just so we can pick up wins early in the year, but you develop that mentality of, yeah, when it gets tough, or maybe we were up 4 and it was cut to 2, that we can finish the game out and still can get out of there with a W. Has there been an emphasis on that, or do you think that's just kind of
Just something for other people to talk about and guess what's going on. Like, what are the Cubs doing different? What are they thinking different? I mean, for me, how I kind of see it is the message is like pretty simple from Counts, and people think like we have all these meetings all the time, and like morale checks and all that. Like, we don't, we don't. And but what I would say is Counts does such a great job of putting guys in a position to be successful that when those times come throughout the game, you can insert a guy, whether it's in the lineup or put him on the mound, and he doesn't have to think about anything. He can go in there, trust his stuff, execute the pitches that he wants to, and he's going to have success. And I feel like that's something that Counts has done just a really good job of, is giving guys these lanes and avenues to just be themselves, and that's going to bring success to them. So I think that to me is like what stood out the most, and I think that obviously when you do that, you breed a little bit of confidence, and you kind of help the guys like get rolling a little bit, because if guys are constantly being put in a good spot to succeed, then you know the team's going to have some success off of that as well. So that to me is kind of what he's done, and he doesn't like obviously vocalize that and say like, "Hey, I'm going to put you." He just picks up the phone and says,
coaches?
"Hey, so and so, get ready." Yeah, so and so, hey, if this guy comes up to hit this inning, like you're coming in the game. So yeah, no, he's really managed things well, and that's obviously made a difference for us so far.
How do with the season being so long, do you look at, series by series, day by day? Do you look at, hey, obviously, like you just talked about the month of April. How do you try to organize your thoughts and break down the season as it goes along?
Most of the time, you can kind of, like I said, if you want to break it down, you got first half and second half. You got month to month. You got homestand to road trips, and then you got obviously series by series. And I think for me, what I found is going series by series is probably the most important. Everyone says, present moment, game to game, day to day, which, yes, there's obviously some truth to that. But we play so many that it's just kind of naturally ingrained in us, because you show up every day and you got to play every day. So that part already kind of takes care of itself, and being able to put an emphasis on like, if you win every series, man. I mean, if you won 2 out of 3, let's just say for 162 games, I don't have. I was good at math, not anymore. That means you're winning 66% of your games, which I would imagine that'd be what, 54 losses, so you'd have 108 wins. Is that right?
That's
Is that
close.
right?
I'm not going to do the math. Well, people in the
I'm
comments
gonna
will
do the
tell us, I'm
math
sure.
right now. No, I'm gonna do it right now. I need to know. I
All
need
right,
to
let's
know.
see that Vanderbilt math. But either way, I mean, that's still a lot of games. You look at teams who are trying to reach
107.
the. There you go. There you go. So yeah, teams that are trying to reach that 100 win mark, it's just kind of like series by series, and that's kind of, I mean, that's how I view it. But I was just curious. Obviously you're the one playing,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you take 2, then you're doing pretty well. And not to kind of talk about Atlanta, but I feel like when you guys in Atlanta were kind of getting to where you were being, you're winning a lot of games, is it kind of started with that sort of mentality of, hey, we're you guys were winning 2 out of 3 a lot. and it was just kind of like you're just stacking wins at that point.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's how you like if you're winning 2 out of 3, next thing you know, you're 7-3 over your last 10 games. And it's like, man, you start doing that consistently, like it adds up pretty freaking quick. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I think just even the more impressive part is doing it with some key guys hurt, right? Like you're missing your ace, your number one, your opening day starter. You're missing your two-hole guy and starting right fielder. You're missing your center fielder and Belly, and then having guys like Talkman be such a pro and come in and take just phenomenal at bats and play a steady Eddie right field and just be a good baseball player. And then you can bring in and guys up like Canario and PCA, and then Bushy's kind of proven that he can hit the major league level, and Morel's getting better defensively, and just getting JMO back, and I mean it's been really really like good to see because this is like not only what helps you be good now, but it kind of just says like, hey, like we can be good for a little while because we got younger kids that can do it. We got a good blend, and everyone's getting a little bit of taste of success, and who knows what that can do to someone's like psyche. So
Too, that if you get later in the year, you guys are proving that you can do it now with all these different pieces. When it does get crunch time, if something were to strain something or catch an oblique or whatever, hopefully not, but you have guys who now have confidence that, hey, yeah, we can come in, we can compete with the pieces we got, and we got guys that can play very productive at the big league level and win games, and that's going to pay dividends in the long run.
well, and the trust that comes from like coaching staff to know like, hey, if we have this guy on the team, like this is the output I can expect. Like I think that's a huge part of it too. So when there's trust from the coaching staff to the player feels less pressure to perform in a way. There's just like a comfort level on both sides that I think allows players to play better. And I think that that's obviously a lot of that stuff starts in spring training, but spring training is just spring training and nothing really matters until things start to like actually count. So, yeah, I mean, we've obviously done a great job managing a little bit of this like odd adversity filled stretch. Um, so it's been fun. It's been fun.
Cubs are in a good spot right now for sure.
Facts.
Now to the R, little bit of Atlanta fan base we have. The draft.
Yeah.
I was not happy at first, but now I wouldn't say I wasn't happy. I was more confused. To all the
Mm-hmm.
people who were trolling me in the comments on our YouTube video when we were talking college football playoffs, and I said Penix may be a day one guy. I would like you all to revisit those statements because we made him a day
Keeps his
one guy.
receipts.
Yeah, and so I don't know. What are your thoughts about it? You were obviously shocked. I think as most of Atlanta.
Yeah, I would say I was more shocked than I was like mad because I slept on it. I slept on it. And number one, like, I truly think that they were scarred by not having a succession plan for Matt, right? And so you sit here and it's like, okay, what can we do to improve our quarterback play immediately? Okay, let's go get, you know, Kirk. And, some people say, well, why'd they go spend all that money? It's like, well, let's say you go invest all this money in other places and then you bring in Penix. Well, the first 2 years, like maybe it is similar to what it has been. Hopefully it wouldn't be as bad, but like you wanted to like truly shore up the quarterback room. And so they obviously did that with Kirk. And when they drafted him, like I said, I was in shock. But the more that I've thought about it, if that number 8 pick, if our season was dependent on getting the number 8 pick right, preferably on the defensive side of the ball, we have other issues that we got to talk about.
We're in
You know what I'm
trouble.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in
Yeah.
big trouble. So with all that being said, from the things I had seen, there were two or three other teams that were trying to trade up to draft him. So for people that says he reached or that they reached, I mean, Bo Nix went 12. Come on,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
come on, bro. Come on, give
Yeah.
me a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, give me a break. Just,
Yeah.
oof.
Mm.
And nothing against Bo Nix. Hope he has a great career. But like, that's where we're at in 2024. So we're at six quarterbacks drafted in the top, what, 12 picks, right?
Yeah. Top 12. Yeah.
So, I mean, they just went ahead and got their guy that they believe
Yeah.
in.
And that's kind of,
They said,
that's
did you
how
see the
I,
report
no,
that
go
they
ahead.
went and watched him throw? They went and did a private workout and they said it was like 40 or 50 and windy up in Washington. And they said two things. They said it looked like he was throwing inside because of how well he was spinning it. And that they said that was the best football they've seen spun since obviously all them being with Matthew Stafford. So they said.
Wow.
So there you go.
We'll take it.
Kick and spin it.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I saw us take him, I was a little, I don't know, confused. Obviously, I was hoping we would once again address the issues on the edge, but it does make sense because I do think you're right. They were kind of bit in the butt by not having a plan when Matt Ryan left, and I
Mm-hmm.
look at this as kind of like what Green Bay did with Aaron Rodgers. They were going to go get their guy. He was going to sit behind Aaron, and that's what we're going to do with Kirk. And they're saying, and I like the way that they phrased. I thought they did a really good job uh, covering up some issues where they said, "Hey, like we're not going to have the number 8 pick again for a long time, so we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to get a quarterback that we want at this sort of level at this place in the draft because we brought in Kirk and we're going to be winning some football games and we're not going to be picking 8th and we don't want to have to
Mm-hmm.
trade back up and do all of that. So we're going to get our guy now and then build and then have him sit and wait. And then the other thing too is, and I hope this doesn't happen, but Kirk could go down at any point. I mean, he's not the
I
youngest
mean,
cat.
you're
He's
one hit
struggled
away from your backup being the most important player on the field. You know.
exactly. And the other issue is, Kirk got hit a lot, obviously in Minnesota. Hopefully, he doesn't get
Mm-hmm.
hit as much in Atlanta. However, watch out. But yeah, so he could go down at any moment, and so then you have your guy who hopefully can get you through the season and continue to grow or whatever, or he may get a chance to step in and take the spotlight and does what he do what he does and
Mm-hmm.
it's his. So it is an interesting kind of component, but I think it is important that we do have a plan once Kirk Cousins does retire or leave or whatever happens with his tenure with the Falcons, because we don't want
Right.
to be caught with our pants down necessarily because Bijan's going to be good. We got a young core. We need to just sort of keep it rolling with what we got.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yep.
pretty interesting. Overall, with the draft, we did address some defensive issues, and we got some interior guys on the defensive line that I'm pretty excited about. So I
Well,
thought it
the
was I
last
thought it
thing I'm
was
gonna say
okay.
about Penix too. Last thing I'm gonna say about Penix too is by the time Kirk's probably done there, whether it's 2, 3, 4 years, is they're going to be able to kind of reset the pay structure market because the quarterback's still going to be on his rookie deal. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
you see all the NFL teams doing that, right? Like when your Super Bowls while your quarterback's on the rookie deal because once you have to pay him, it's tough sledding. And so that to me is another thing that I like about it. Like I said, they shored up the defensive line for sure, right? Like took a guy in the second and the third, um, kind of overhauled that whole room. You're more of the football guy in that regard than me to know. But I mean, we've been begging them. What have we been begging the Falcons to do for years, right? Like draft players from bigger schools. I feel like they did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Washington, Clemson, drafted a Georgia a Georgia player, and everybody's probably thankful for that. Drafted
Yeah.
McClellan out of Alabama, guy from Illinois. Like they went all like pretty big Power Five. That guy from Notre Dame. Like there's everybody they drafted is coming from some type of like pedigree. Oregon, the guy from
Yeah.
Oregon. So
Checks
I
out.
don't know. You tell me. You tell me about. Have you watched any tape on him, Coach?
Watch a few tape. We got some guys that are going to clog up some holes up front, which is always good. As you know, and a lot of people have talked about this, the quickly becoming the most important position on defense is the three tech. Um, just because of how versatile they are in the league, you see a lot of those guys now
Mm-hmm.
starting to get paid. So we got some depth there, and defense
Mm-hmm.
was rolling last year. I mean, so we're just adding depth, and hopefully, they're going to do what they need to do to keep giving Kirk a chance and the boys a chance. And we picked up another
Yeah.
running back, so we can start using. I like where we're headed at. We said the same thing last year. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
like where we were headed at, but I don't know. I guess every year we just get excited, and that's kind of that. Speaking of the draft, though, since we are a Chicago-based podcast now, the Bears are looking nice. I don't know if you've
I
looked
mean,
at like their
they hit the jackpot a little bit with just some of the stuff, right? Like the trade last year to be able to move back and then still get the number one pick, have the number nine pick. You bring in Keenan Allen, right, to give Caleb Williams obviously like a safety blanket, but then having DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, freaking, they just drafted a Dunze. Like they've got the weapons, bro. They'll always have a defense in
yeah,
Chicago. They got some weapons.
yeah,
We'll just see. Like it's funny. I chat with some guys on the team that are Bears fans and give them a hard time all the time. But I'm like, does it matter? Like, if you have the reincarnation of Tom Brady, like, is Chicago like gonna have a good quarterback? Like, it just seems like for whatever
yeah,
reason, like organizationally, like if there's one curse, like that's the Chicago Bear curse. It's like not having a guy that can just pick a defense apart. In Atlanta, we'd probably say what, like holding on to leads is like our curse, right? So yeah, I mean they're obviously exciting direction for them. They're getting a new stadium too. Um, they're gonna, they're kind of like rebuilding Soldier Field or whatever. So definitely some freaking cool things happening, man. I don't keep
yeah,
up with the Bears as much as I do the Falcons. I like read stuff every day about the Falcons, but that's all right. I still know some things.
yeah. No, I was just saying. I was just looking at their board and who they had, and like their projected 11 on offense, and I was like, man,
Not
they
bad.
reloaded. Yeah, they
Yeah,
reloaded.
yeah, not bad.
But yeah, so I don't know if you want to share with these good fine people some good word of the day or something that maybe you saw this week that been on your heart or that you like. I got something for them, but I'll let you go first.
This one, and I probably have even said this one on the podcast before too, but just one that I've always loved, just because I think it provides such a not only just like a positive outlook, but just like truth when things aren't going so great. Because we obviously all experience some type of, you know, tough luck or just a rough week or whatever it may be. It's James 1, verses 2 through 4. And it says, "Consider it a great joy, my brothers, whenever you experience various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. But endurance must do its complete work, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing." And then if you move forward to verse 12, it says, "A man who endures trials is blessed, because when he passes the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him." And the reason I love just those verses so much is because number one, it helps us like maintain a grateful outlook on life when things aren't going good. Um, just because it's even promised in the word that it like we should consider it like good. Like things aren't going good, good. Like I can just keep moving forward, keep persevering, knowing that number one, God is with me, but understanding that like even though some crappy things are happening, it's still like shaping and molding me to become more mature, to become more complete. Like we're all unfinished works, and the more we experience some of these things, like it's helping kind of like chisel uh, our mind, heart, soul, and body to be able to serve our Lord and Savior better. And I just think it's so cool. Just like you never would think that like the word, the words enduring trials and blessing like in the same sentence. Um, but I just love those verses, and I think it's so good for anyone to hear. I read those to myself when I'm struggling at the field or at the plate or whatever. Um, it gives me some peace, whether life's not going as great or whatever. For anyone out there listening, obviously things may be tough, but just stick with it, keep going, continue to pray. I think in that same little kind of, if anyone wants to go read James 1, but it even talks about like for anyone who lacks wisdom, like ask for it. So if you're going through something, don't know what to do, pray, seek the Father, and good things happen.
Yeah, love those. I got one for you. It's what I would classify as a oldie but a goodie. I feel like it's one that gets used a lot, but it just hit me in a different way this week, and I think it's always good to kind of remind yourself of it. It's Proverbs 3:5, which everyone knows or most
Mm,
people know is trust in
mm-hmm,
the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. And I think it's just so good because I think a lot of times as humans or as adults or whatever, we feel like, oh, we should be doing this or this is what I need to be doing. But it's really good to take a second and stop and just think, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to go in the right area and I'm going to, follow his path, not my own. So even if I end up doing something else that I didn't see myself doing or I don't feel like is the right spot, just know like it's his path, not yours. So you can't, depend on your own understanding when it's just so much bigger than that. And so I think it's just
mm-hmm,
good to kind of revisit that a little bit of, you know, seek him in all that you do. And he's going to show you which path to take. So that's just a good one to kind
mm-hmm,
of come back to.
mm-hmm. Well, especially, if I think sometimes we put ourselves in those own little holes, right? Like we think that we're smart enough and we know, and it drives us insane when we don't. And I think that that's a good like meter or barometer to test like, hmm, maybe I'm seeking after kind of like my own desires and things I want and not what the Father wants. Um, you know, so I would say that those are two good pieces to take about your week, and yeah, keep it rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go
So we definitely
Cubs,
appreciate you
go
all for
Falcons,
go.
go
Yeah, go
Jesus.
Cubs, go Falcons. Yep. And we appreciate you all for listening. Let us know in the comments some things you want us to talk about. We're going to be doing these sort of, I would say, throughout the season to kind of keep you guys updated. We'll obviously have more guests on, stuff like that, but it's always good just kind of keep everybody up to date with what we got going on.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. More stuff coming soon.